Welcome back, subscribers, and just all around people that just hold a WFO. You know, you're watching Unfiltered, and this was a topic that I wasn't going to get involved on because I thought my buddy Chris Cooksey did an excellent job making a concise point as to why the Rocky Mountain KTM team was going under. And essentially, it's just money. You know, you piss off your title sponsor, they leave. It happens. Just don't want to compare this to the whole Geico Honda situation because they just found a better avenue to get the viewership and views out of just becoming a series sponsor as opposed to just helping out the team, you know. But again, it's all about money. And I guess one thing I am commenting about is just the media. The media when it comes to racing, there's like a weird vendetta between everybody. Like the space is big enough for everyone. The little digs are just annoying. It's just annoying. And, you know, yeah, I am kind of saying Roto-Moto with what he said about Cooksey's video that nobody took it to heart because Cooksey took in some of his personal experience with the team.
But the 3-minute video also included a segment talking about the team owner trying to fist fight Cooksey, so many took this topic with a grain of drama salt.
Okay,
But today, Steve Mathis of PulpMX took to Twitter to...
And then, of course, you've got the main guy, Pulp, right? It's not true unless Pulp says it's true. That's the whole innuendo. Like, I didn't take it with a grain of salt because he had some personal experience with the owner of Rocky Mountain. I'm just saying it. There's just more drama with it. But how... Let me know in the comments below what your guys' take on it. Johnny, are you just being, you know, overly bitter about stuff? You know, just let me know. You know, tell me how it is, because sometimes I need a gut check. But that's how I saw it, and it opted me to make this video and talk about it. So it's a bummer that you have the riders that don't have as many opportunities. So even if they know a team is relatively not that strong financially, they're still going to take a leap of faith because it's still better to go to the race, because if you do have some luck behind you and you do have good performances, well, then that opens to you a door that on a team that is financially stable, and then you can continue your career. It must suck for these elite riders that are just on the cups of racing, not racing, racing, not racing, you know, because there is rumors that they could continue to do it without a title sponsor. If they do, it's not going to end well, and it's not going to be a prolonged deal, because anything about racing motorcycles is it's just financially draining to the elite level. That's why I'm for the new FIM World Supercross, where they're talking about, you know, the liquidity when it comes to some other teams, keeping them, you know, afloat because they understand the problem. We'll see how they systematically implement what they are promising, because it's one thing to say something, and it's another thing entirely to do it. But that's where I'm going, where there needs to be some innovation with motocross and supercross where it comes to an A class and a B class. A class is just a simple works class. Combine both the 450 and the 250 factories, make it an unlimited works class, and then you have a privateer supported class that is a stock class where you can have a stock bike. You could have 10 stock bikes on your team if you can support it, or you could just have one. You know, it's primarily the privateer team, and then we take the riders that win championships from that class and move them up to the works class factory classes, where the entire gate, whether it's 40 riders or 20 riders, they're all on factory teams. They're all on paying positions in the works class. The privateer class is that stepping stone class, which is what the 250 is supposed to be right now. But the 250 class is too freaking expensive to keep moving, because the bike has to be built to the moon in order to be competitive to the factory guys. And then same thing with like a team like this. If they could have cut their budget by half, by a quarter, by racing the privateer class, because there's certain minimum requirements when it comes to just the production rule, because I personally, I'm not a fan of this production rule, because it's a bunch of crap, because you've got bikes that literally are $250,000 with fancy shit on them, that in testing and in the suspension and all the fancy stuff that these factory teams have, compared to racing against bikes that are supposedly just off the showroom shelf, right? It's God, the liberal in me is saying it's not fair, and I hate even saying that, but there needs to be, for a prolonged just money flow into the sport, there needs to be some major changes happening. And in this FIM World Supercross may force some of the innovations when it comes to Supercross and motocross, because pressure of riders leaving your series is only going to make you try to, how do we better make the riders more happy so that they stay? How do we keep the teams to stay so that they don't just, jump off the ship and go somewhere else? And it's all money. It's all financially speaking. So if you can make just some rules, yes, I'm being a little bit repetitive here, just some simple stock rules for just one class. You don't even have to change having a 2-day event. You still have a 1-day event. You just get rid of the 250 class. Make the 250 class the stock class, and that's just what you do. The 250s can be the privateer class where you just race 250s, but it has to be stock. It has to be a bike that you get off the showroom shelf. You can do some very minimum tuning when it comes to, I don't know if you want to put a gold valve in, something like that, but you just minimum tuning. And in order to then get a factory ride, you have to be doing well in that class as a stepping stone class. Because why is it that privateers, because of this whole production rule, the majority of riders go race professionally in hopes of getting a factory ride, but it's never going to happen unless you're a little Deegan or somebody on a 50cc that gets a factory ride at age 6, right? That's how these guys, that's how the system is set up right now. And in my opinion, it's fucked. It needs to be changed, because the majority of people getting into the sport are all come from amateurs. And when you have like a pick and choose of just a few guys, there's a huge luck that comes with that. Yeah, there's talent and blah, 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 blah. But when you have a factory bike against a bunch of stock bikes, which is all the amateurs, any top factory kid is on just extremely cheaterish equipment when it comes to some other rider. Yeah, I'm using that term cheaterish because, yeah, according to the rules, it's not cheating, but the bike and the testing and the resources behind is so different. The middle-class guy that makes $60,000 a year that's taking his kid to Loretta cannot compete with Star Racing Yamaha and Team Green Kawasaki in the amateurs, no matter how talented their kid is. But the system is set up that you have to get a good ride as a young kid and be basically shepherded all the way up to the factory ranks, and then you start off as a factory ride. That's how you're going to win championships, is by starting off on a factory team in the amateurs and moving to the professional factory team as a professional. As a privateer, there's no chance for you. You're just literally wasting your money by giving to Feld and AMA Pro Racing to race. Because what are you doing it for? There's no money in it. Because if you race, you're barely breaking even with what it costs you to race, which is a major problem. And two, the hopes of you getting a factory ride because you work your ass off is very minimal. You have a better chance of winning the lottery, really, because let me know in the comments below how many privateers were able to get on a factory ride. Like, really, the only two that I can think of is, I believe, John Dowd. And then Weston Pike. Yeah, there's guys that have been able to like substitute for factory guys, but as soon as they're healthy again, they don't. So my whole rant is, yes, was a little bit about the media beef between everybody, and there's room for everybody, right? There is room for everybody. That's how the sport is growing, is because there's guys like Cooksey out there that are breaking stories, right? Okay, we don't need to have a centralized, just one-all be-all when it comes to getting information out there. You get it from different places, and then you make a judgment call on yourself to believe, who you want to get your information from. Or I say get your information from all of them. I look at my analytics, and I know that people that watch my stuff watch multiple stuff, all right? But the people at the top in the media, they want to just make you get your information just from them. So, yeah, I think it was a backhanded comment that I don't agree with. And, again, I could potentially be overstepping on that. But more importantly, the conversation is, how do you prevent teams from folding? Is you have a series that has a less minimum financial requirement to be successful. Because what factory, KTM, Rocky Mountain, MC, what their budget was to support 3 riders or 2 riders is far less than what Star Racing Yamaha has, factory Kawasaki, HRC Honda. Those are such elite teams that have such big budgets. How do we make the incentive to where, like, some of the rules that, like, F1 has changed is if you were in the back of the series, boom, you are getting some advantages when it comes to wind testing. You have a longer time in the tunnel, and then, they're trying to make it to where these teams from middle class to high class, it's a smaller gap, financially speaking. And that's why I truly believe that there needs to be some innovation with remapping the classes. What's it going to hurt? Motocross and Supercross is entertainment. Entertainment. It's not about racing. It's about entertainment. And how do you make even a better entertainment is when you get more people involved. Okay? And where does the majority of the money come from this stuff? It comes from the middle class. The guys that are not getting bikes for free because they're 9 years old getting a factory ride. It's from guys that have the dream of getting the factory ride, and they go buy a $7,000 50 off the showroom floor. That is what's keeping the sport alive, is it's the middle class. So let's make it easier and more financially appealing to the middle class. Therefore, more people will jump in, and you will have a boom, a motorcycle, Supercross, motocross boom, and a series that everybody wants to get to. And then fans that want to watch the series because there's tighter racing, because you're not just seeing one dude, just 2-3 guys just sheer run away with everything. You're going to have different names popping up, and those different names are going to bring different sponsors. And that's why this social media platform is so incredibly important to the growth. Let's not censor these guys and give certain packages to, this guy is, we're not going to demonetize him because he gives to the sport, and I'm not even going to talk about all the testing when it comes to drugs and blah, 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 blah. The point of my video is new innovation is needed in order for this sport to be successful, and we need to incentivize the privateers and the middle class families to continue throwing money at this sport. Enough said. Bra, da, 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 war, I am war.